back to GCSC Corporation Catchup. My name is Brady Connett, and today I'm joined with Dr. Harold Olin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on the show.
Of course. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in today. So we're going to kind of discuss some updates going on in the corporation here. So first I want to mention the Amplify Center. You got an update for that?
I do. We are right on our timeline. In fact, I drove by it yesterday. They're doing a pretty good job of getting the building buttoned up on the outside so they can do all that finishing work between now and the end of July is when that's technically supposed to be done. I continue to meet with the other county superintendents as well as Stan Wilkinson, who will oversee that project. We met with Congressman Shreve last week, something that Kent Fisk, a local county councilman, had put together, looking for some additional funding for that. And I know I've shared the story before, but that building is about a $45 million investment that the county has paid for through the collection of TIF dollars over the last decade. So to construct that building was no easy task. Unfortunately, that $45 million still leaves a little bit of a gap in terms of some of the equipment we need in that building. The perfect example of that would be the lifts that we need for the automotive shop. You know, those are not cheap, but not something that was part of that initial bond. So we have some fundraising efforts that are happening right now through the Community Foundation of Hancock County. Mary Gibble and her team are being very helpful in that. We're also looking for some state dollars, federal dollars, and some public dollars through things, Lilly grants and other things along those lines. So I'm probably giving you more information than you wanted there, but just trying to illustrate how it's such a complex thing to pull this off, and it's been 5-6 years in the making. I can tell you we're getting really close. Things continue to point toward that opening in the fall of 26 for the high school component, which will have, it's 11 to 13 different programs that will be there that are currently being offered at Walker Career Center, Newcastle, Anderson, a few other places where Hancock County schools are sending kids for CTE learning. The exciting part beyond that would certainly be the college piece through Ivy Tech. They will have about 30,000 square feet. They will open their doors in the fall, as well as the hospital having a radiology program. So all arrows pointing toward that completion happening next summer.
That's great to hear. It seems like you guys are keeping on your timeline with that, so that's great. So another construction project, of course, just west of us is the new tennis courts. So what can you tell us about that update as well?
Well, I've been very excited to talk about that one over the last 5 or 6 years. It's hard to believe we've owned that property since the end of 2018. And then to start moving dirt there a couple months ago, you can see that the foundations are set for the tennis courts, not only the compacted limestone. You also see the poles coming up. We've got one outbuilding there, which will be a concession stand, restrooms, storage. And then that parking lot on the north end, you can see the concrete curbs have been poured for that, which would be for about 300 cars. So pretty excited. Things are moving along. Of course, we're looking for that asphalt to be poured here pretty soon, both in the parking lot and on the tennis courts. And they'll continue that construction of that building up through the winter once they can get that enclosed. So, you know, it would always be a bonus for us to get the spring tennis season there, or there's an outside chance that could still happen. That initial timeline had us using that by next fall. So we're hoping that we can pull off a minor miracle here and make that work for the spring.
Yeah, that's always a little kind of sketchy to see, you know, when that timeline might happen.
You know, again, talk about the complexities of not only laying the asphalt, which has to cure for a certain number of days, but then the final coating on that, there has to be the right amount of heat, the number of hours of daylight, so the angle of the sun. I mean, it's a science in putting that together, much in the same way that it was a science to put together our new gym floor last spring.
Awesome. And of course, we're looking for a new police chief at this time. So can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I would say I'm a little disappointed that we've been gung-ho on this for about a year as we were talking with our partners through the Sheriff's Department and the Police Department. Everything has been really pretty seamless for us, getting the approval from the state to start our department, hiring our chief, Chief Deaton. Unfortunately, Chief Deaton was not able to make that relocation happen for his family. He was coming from Scott County, just had a variety of things within his family where they'd made the decision that move with a school-age child was not at the right time. So that does put us back a little bit looking for a chief of police. So if you're looking at our website, you would have noticed that we had posted for an opening about 2 weeks ago. We've got another good pool to select from. We will conduct some interviews over fall break and hopefully resume that timeline that we were on, get that chief back in place. We will bring over some of our part-time SROs to be not only school resource officers, but to be Greenfield Central Police part of our department. A piece of good news, though, we did have Trey Strunk, who had been the school safety officer at Harris in GIS for the last couple of years. He did go through the abbreviated academy a couple weeks ago, and we will be officially swearing him in as an officer here in the next week.
Awesome. So with that timeline on finding that new police chief, hopefully during fall break, I guess what's your timeline on actually getting them hired after that point?
Shortly after that, we would take them to the board meeting in October.
Okay, perfect. So next thing I wanted to mention was the Eden principal. You guys are currently searching for a new principal there as well?
Yeah, again, I think staffing just has a lot of obstacles in the 21st century. Never a good time to be changing principals mid-year, but Mr. Bowman made a decision to resign and seek something a little bit closer to home for himself, which did give us a little bit of a gap and a little bit of a scare. The good news was that we have some people internally. Joey Johnson, a name that's very familiar in the Greenfield Central Schools, put over 30 years here as an educator, a longtime teacher at Harris. Of course, he was a dean of students and assistant principal and principal for us. He did retire about a decade ago, but he is more than willing to step in. He's actually been at Eden for the last couple weeks, and they've not missed a beat. We're very thankful to have people like Joey Johnson in our community who want good things for our schools. I think the staff, students, and parents would tell you he has stepped right in and really done a good job of meeting those needs.
That's great to hear. And of course, this past weekend we had our Red Letter Gala. Your thoughts on that?
Well, this was something that we've done for about 15 years since we've made that transition from the Set a Good Example Foundation to the Greenfield Central School Foundation. This is my 12th year as superintendent, so my seat's a little bit different there. I am a member of that board, but I've seen such growth over those 12 years within the organization in terms of the impact that they're having. And I was able to share some of those highlights from last year. You know, to have over $70,000 in scholarships granted, $50,000 in wishes, and $30,000 in grants. The number of donor development settings that Jenny Brown has had with the community, the way they've been able to honor teachers here at the high school for the influential teacher. I think it's over 60 people they've inducted into the Greenfield Central Hall of Fame. They're doing great work. I mean, that's just kind of the icing on the cake that I was able to highlight there. It was a fantastic evening. We continued to not only raise money, but celebrate some fantastic alumni, some people who've been giving great service to our community and the school community as a whole. Just a wonderful evening. And on top of that, we were able to bring back 3 of the foundational members, Dr. Todd Kaminsky and Robert Albano, former principal here at the high school, who really started that Set a Good Example Foundation, and then also bringing in Myra Blyle, the first executive director. It was a fantastic night.
That's wonderful to hear. So, of course, fall sports, any highlights there or extracurriculars you want to mention?
Well, I certainly think about our marching band has had a fantastic fall. I think this was the first weekend that they didn't win. They did come across some tough competition, but of course we know that we're not done with our show yet. They continued to do a great job. Saw them at the football game on Friday night. In fact, I think I've seen them 3 times this year. They just continue to get better and better and put on an amazing show. You know, the high school football game was a tough one on Friday night. It's rare that you run across the juggernaut the way that New Palestine is this year, that I think they'll probably roll through most games that they play this year, even though they moved up to 5A. I would tell our gentlemen on the football team, keep your head up. They're still doing a lot of good things, and we've got a lot of season ahead of us. You know, cross country, tennis, volleyball, they continue to have a lot of successes as well. So it's an exciting time of year. I would encourage our community members to step out and support the Cougars.
It is. And then any other news wrapping up here from Central Office that you'd like to share?
Well, a couple of things come to mind. Obviously, our students in grades 3 through 8 have been very focused on the I-Learn checkpoints. This is the first year for us to do this. You know, we think about standardized testing as something we do once a year in the spring. the state has actually changed that format, that we have some 3 checkpoints during the year in addition to that summative piece at the end of the year. So our kids in grades 3 through 8 in language arts and math have been assessing a little bit. So I congratulate them on their hard work and determination to do their best on that. And then I guess I would be remiss to have this meeting and not mention fall break is just 5 days away. I know our kids, it seems like we just started the school year. I can remember Mr. Hudson and I talking about that opening day program in our auditorium, and yet we're almost a quarter of the way through the school year. I would encourage our kids to stay focused this week. Certainly enjoy the Riley Day festivities that are coming up. I hope everyone has a restful and safe break.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Olin, we appreciate you coming in. Of course, enjoy your fall break as well.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.